Good morning and welcome to Three Ravens Bushcraft. I'm Brian, and today we're going to go over the 5 C's of survival. The first C that we're going to go over today is going to be containers. So containers in a survival situation are very important. Obviously they give us the ability to cook food, the ability to purify water, and the ability to hold things that we're going to need when we're in a survival situation. A survival situation is obviously different from a camping situation, so when I go over these things, try to keep those things in the back of your mind, because some of these things work great for camping or for the outdoors, but not as good for a survival situation, and we'll go over those things as we do. Okay, so one of the first things that I see a lot when I look at people's kits is that I'll see this right here, right? So the military grade canteen. So the military grade canteen is all right. I mean, it works for our troops here and abroad. It works for myself, being in the military. But you know what? We got rid of these things when we were allowed to, because living here in Canada, they don't work so well because of this very small top, right? So winter time comes around, whole thing freezes up. You can't get anything in there to break it up. So therefore, the military canteen really isn't that great of an option. Along with that canteen, because the two of them go together so well, one thing you'll see is the canteen cup, right? So a lot of people like these canteen cups. They're small, they're compact, they fit into their kit really nice. They have nice attachments that fit for them. There's all that MOLLE gear and stuff, right? The military grade stuff as well, right? But it's small, right? Look at that, only cooks about, I think it's about 800 mils at the very most, right? And that's really not all that much, right? When we're talking about a survival situation, you wake up in the morning, you're going to want to drink about 7 cups of tea just to start your day off, right? To keep yourself hydrated and get that headache to go away. So really this canteen cup, as well as it fits so greatly with the canteen, making a great little system, you know what, there's better ones out there if you're going to go buy something. So then the next one we see a lot is the Nalogen bottle, right? So if I'm going to pick a bottle over, you know, for my canteen or for my stuff, you know what? I like Nalogen bottles, and I like the big bottles for, you know, that kind of stuff, because they have this nice, great big top, right? So now when it freezes here in Canada, right, we can get our knife in there and we can break the ice up and we can actually get going on that. But there's one inherent problem with this, and that they're made out of plastic, right? So hard, indestructible plastic, but at the end of the day, we can't use it to cook in. So really, it's not that good either. So then the next one we'd move on to would be maybe, you know, a nice metal bottle like this, right? So this is metal. There's no seams in it, because some of these cheaper ones you'll find have seams in them. But this one here has a smaller lid on it. So again, it's going to kind of end up doing what the canteen does, and that it's going to actually freeze and we won't be able to get inside there and break that up. So it's pretty close to what we want, but not exactly. And then the last one here in this Nalogen bottle kind of thing is that here's one here, right? So this one here, it's got a nice rubber cover on it to keep the metal bottle nice and safe and dent free. But look what they've done. They've taken and they've put a plastic lid on the top, right, and a plastic lip on it. Well, now I can't put this in the fire where it belongs, right? I need to be able to boil water in it. That's part of the canteen, or the part of the container part of it, right? So this really isn't that good either. So then I come here. Here's a metal one. This one here is completely metal all the way around. There's no metal lip on the top, right? And now I can hang it, right? But I can't hang it without the aid of something else, right? It needs to have, you know, some kind of, you know, hook that hooks in here to maybe hold it up, or it needs, you know, a piece of wire to hold it around, or even paracord would probably work. And that's not such a bad thing, because you're going to try to put all your survival items in your container anyways, right? So this actual kit right here is one I've been carrying around for a few years. And funny enough, I've only had to use little pieces of it. I've never actually had to use the kit because I don't generally get myself in situations where I need it, but that's another story. Okay, and then here's a good one, right? So it's got a nice tight fitting lid. It's got an actual little place spout, if you will. But here's the kicker here. It's got a bail handle, right? So with this bail handle, which makes it so good, is that now I can tie a piece of paracord onto it. If the water is down into a tricky place where I can't really get it, I can tie onto the bail handle, and then I can scoop it up and pull it up to me, right? But more importantly, I can use this bail handle now to actually cook over the fire, right? So now when I'm going to cook on the fire, if I need to get my pot off, I can just take my knife and grab a hold of it and bring it back to me, right? I don't need to have it stuck right into the actual fire. So there's a lot of good pluses that come with this bail handle. The other part is you should have a nice tight fitting lid, right? So this lid fits on nice and tightly, right? So that way my liquid that's inside, if I'm boiling water for my tea in the morning, if it were to somehow fall off that cooking system, then it's not going to pour out on the ground and I lose all that hard work that I've tried to sort out in the morning. And that's a good idea, and that's an alright pot, and it's dirt cheap because I found it at the thrift store for 50 cents, but there's a better option out there. So this one here is kind of my pot or my container that I really like. Okay, so it's a Morse pot from 4 Dog Stoves. Nice, great pot. Heavy duty bail on it, right? Nice, it folds away and it kind of locks away as well. It's got these nice handles on the back, right, that make it easier for pouring if need be. It's got that nice lid that stays on, right? It's got a nice handle for the lid, and everything sits together. And this one here is anodized black already, so it's going to give me about 10% fuel savings if need be. And it's non-stick inside, which it's nice to have. It's not a need, but it's definitely well thought out. So this is a pot that Morris Kolanski thought out. Told the guys from 4 Dog Stoves, hey, this is what I think a good pot is. They ran with that and made this great pot, and this is what you got. Holds about 2 liters of water versus this little pot here that holds just under the 2 liters. And yeah, it's a little more expensive, but you're going to get something that you're going to be able to hang on to for quite a while. So the reasons I like this one: it's a bigger pot. It could even be bigger yet, because if I wanted to put all my kit in here that I'm going to need for my survival situation and just be able to pull that out in the need of a survival situation, it could be, you know, a little bit bigger. But it's got that nice lid that stays on there. It's got a nice spout on it. It's got this great bail handle that's super rugged, and then it's got these handles on the back to make it nice and easy for pouring, right? So I can actually take this pot if I wanted to, and if I were to just hold it over the, you know, have it hang over the fire, I make my tea in the morning, I don't have any other pots with me or anything, well, next thing you know, I've got this great big 2-liter cup, right? And I can drink out of that, but let it cool down first because it is metal. Anyways, I think this pot is probably one of the best ones that you're going to have out there for a container. So it's a good container, and I think that's a good one there. Now, we'll quickly go over some other containers. Let's say you're on a budget, right? You don't have a lot of money, you're just starting out in the bushcraft thing, or you just want to get yourself sorted out properly. Well, here's a good option. It's just a coffee can, right? So here's a nice big metal coffee can, right? And now to make this a little bit better, we go and we take some wire, right? We take the wire, put a little hole in here, wrap it through the handle about 8 times, and now you've got a great sturdy handle that's going to go on your pot. And the beauty of most of these great coffee cans, well, they come with a lid already, you know, so you can put your lid on your stuff at the end, and life is good, right? So you've got a big pot. You know, if you like coffee like I like coffee, you're going to have a couple of these kicking around. Make sure you buy the metal can ones. They're a little harder to find now, but definitely worth it, right? And then if, you know, you're like somebody who doesn't drink a lot of coffee, then maybe you're going to have one of these kicking around, right? And that's still just a little coffee can, and it's metal, and the same thing, right? Now this one holds about 1 liter, so it's a little smaller than you'd want. It'd be hard to put all your nice survival items inside it, but you know, not a bad option, right? And for what, the price of your coffee that you drank and enjoyed anyways, pretty good deal. Okay, last couple ones we're going to talk about are ones you see in camping all the time. Okay, so here's just your standard pot, right? That comes, you know, with your camping kit. Nice little pot. Problem is, it doesn't have a handle on it, right? So you got to use the handle grippers here, which, you know, half the time those things get lost, or they fall off, or the worst part about them is they're really not all that comfortable when you hang on to them like this for a long period of time when this is full of liquid or food. But for camping, this isn't a bad idea. Nice and lightweight, you know, and it's already got the non-stick coating inside it. And this pot set that I have here, I've had for over 15 years probably, so it holds up really well. Good thing about pot sets or any of these containers is make sure you buy from a good company, right? I'm not going to endorse a company because I just don't have that power, but I can tell you this, is that if you're going to pay for your stuff, pay the extra $1, buy the good stuff, because if you don't, what ends up happening is when it breaks, you're kind of out the door, and that's too bad. But you buy good stuff, you call up the company or email the company and you say, you know what, this broke on me, and 9 times out of 10 in my experience, that company will send you something and say, you know what, sorry about that, here's either a new lid, here's a new this, here's a new that, right? So buy that quality stuff. Okay, and then the last one here, I'm just going to show off because really there is no need for it, but this here is just a canoe cup. So the canoe cups were used by the voyageurs back, you know, in the fur trade era here in Canada. So I've made one to kind of replicate the same idea. But the canoe cup to them was a container, and it was also a container they used for a lot of things. So they'd use it obviously for their drinks, but they'd also use it for bailing out their canoe, right, or getting the water out of their canoe. So it would have just more than one use. But this canoe cup only holds about just over a cup, and you can't boil in it. Well, you can if you were to use a rock boiling system, but it would take you an awful long time, and really this isn't a good survival cup, but it sure is pretty in my view. Anyways, so that's it, containers, right? So this is part of the 5C series. We're starting off with containers, then we'll go on to combustion, and we'll carry on from there, right? And I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do enjoy it, then don't be afraid to subscribe, because apparently that's a big deal. I'm not a huge YouTuber yet. Maybe I'll get there one day. Again, you know, make sure that your option for a container is got a good lid on it that'll hold up tight. Should have a bail handle if you can get it, and should be of metal for sure. And make sure that it's probably bigger than 2 liters, probably closer to 3 or 4, so that you can put all your kit inside it, and that'll make you a good container for your survival container and part of your 5C's. So enjoy yourself out there and stay safe. Cheers.